So recently, I've been getting into anime again, specifically Attack on Titan, and it made me think, man, it would suck to live in that world. Then the other day I was watching Pokemon, and that made me think, man, it would be amazing to live in that world. So then that got me thinking, and now I'm making this video. So here we are, the worst and best fictional universes to live in. I'm going to start with the best universes first, and then move into the worst. Starting off with Pokemon. Honestly, if I had to choose a world to live in for the rest of my life, I'd choose this one 100%. This world is pretty much perfect, and along with that, there's wild, mythical creatures that you can tame and befriend. I don't see a downside to living here at all. If you asked me what world peace was, I'd tell you to play any Pokemon game. The only problem I have is that I don't think I fully trust society enough to be around wild Pokemon considering what they've done. And getting used to the wild Pokemon would be super hard. Imagine you're just taking a walk in the park and a Seedot just jumps out from a bush. You know, I'd be pretty scared. There's not much else to say, it's a pretty safe world and doesn't require a bunch of skills and knowledge to survive in. Next up, we got the Naruto-verse. Now this one's pretty hard to rank because it really just depends where you live and how you decide to live your life. If you're born into the Hidden Leaf Village, just wrap it up because you're not surviving. You have to deal with things like this on a random Wednesday. But if you're really just living a chill life as a civilian in a small village, you'll probably live a long, happy life. Now, if you become a shinobi, that changes everything because now your chance of survival is from 100% to 20%. Because they got literal kids fighting against each other and all these dudes have superpowers. Chances are you're not going to have all that fancy stuff that other shinobi have. You're just going to be a low-level crook trying to survive. Being a shinobi is like having a death wish. Because if a war breaks out, you're going to be put against demigods like Madara, who can solo an entire army. If you're not a main character and you're a shinobi, you're pretty much cooked. And even as a civilian, you're not guaranteed safety because Sasuke was just a kid and he woke up to his entire clan dead and killed by his own brother. So if you're a ninja, you're pretty much dead. But if you're just a normal person minding their business, life won't be that bad. But there's always a chance of a ninja war breaking out again. Overall, it's not the safest, but there are definitely worse places. Now we got the Marvel Universe. Now I'm gonna be honest, I don't think this is as safe as you think, especially if you live in New York. For some reason, New York is always the most targeted location ever in the Marvel Universe. Living in Gotham is probably better than living in the Marvel Universe. Every day, a 9/11 type of attack happens. Insurance must be through the roof in New York because people's cars are probably getting thrown by the Hulk every single day. The amount of people with superpowers in this universe is ridiculous, and it doesn't help that they could just turn on you any second. That alone would be enough for me to move out the state. Who would stop Thor if he just decided that he was better than everyone and became evil? And people like Galactus, who, keep in mind, eats literal planets for fun, just show up on a monthly basis. In the MCU, half of all life in the universe was wiped away for 5 years, and the Avengers just gave up. Imagine living your life and then just turning into dust. And if you didn't blip, you'd be living in fear wondering if you are going to die. And yeah, living in the MCU would be a little bit better than living in the comics, but you're still in constant danger 24/7. But there's also the upsides. There's a chance you could get powers yourself. In that case, you're a lot more capable of defending yourself, but if you don't get powers, then you just have to hope the Avengers can protect you. I don't understand why people even live in New York after everything that's happened. That applies to real life too. Overall, the Marvel Universe isn't safe at all, but 9 times out of 10, the Avengers usually beat all the villains they face, but you'd have to face all the collateral damage they cause during their battles. Alright, now that we got the universes that you have a chance to survive in, let's get into the ones that you have 0 chance to survive in. I'm talking if you're born in any of these, just choke yourself with the umbilical cord because it'll be less painful than the death you'll suffer if you decide to start a life in these universes. Right off the bat, Attack on Titan. I don't even know where to start with this. You're just pretty much cooked in every aspect of this show. You can't do anything if you run into the Titans. You're not the main character, so when you try and fight a Titan, chances are you're going to die. Enlisting into any branches of the military is just signing yourself up for death. You'd just be dead meat and cannon fodder. Chances are you're not super athletic. Being in shape is the most important thing in survival, so if you're not in shape in this universe, you're dead, because you're gonna have to fend for yourself most of the time. adding salt to the wound, you're most likely to be born into Wall Maria because the inner walls are for the wealthy and elite. So say goodbye to a safe life. And those in Wall Maria are poor, so chances are you'd be living in poverty. So your only real chance of being safe is to be rich, which, let's be honest, most of us aren't. Eventually, when the colossal titan breaks down the wall and titans begin to invade, there's nothing you can do. But let's just say you manage to survive the debris and titans. The boats to evacuate are going to be full and there won't be enough space to fit you in. So already you're dead in the first episode. And that's just talking about the island. If you're born anywhere else in the world, your death is guaranteed. Although there aren't any titans on other parts of the world, eventually when Eren starts the rumbling and all the colossal titans begin to stomp the earth, you're truly dead. Because there's no way to survive the rumbling unless you're a main character, which reminds me, you're not a main character, so you'd die. Survival is just not an option in this world. If you were born into it, you're just destined to die. So if you ever end up in this verse somehow, just end it because you're not surviving in it. Now, last but not least, we have the Demon Slayer universe. I'll be honest, this universe is not even as bad as the Attack on Titan universe, but it's still pretty dangerous. But your safety in this verse depends on a few important factors, the most important being whether you live in the city or in a rural area. I'm not sure if any of you knew this, but the people in the Demon Slayer don't know that demons exist, except for people in the countryside. Demons to the city people and the rest of the world are just like an urban legend. They don't actually know of their existence and just believe they are myths. This is because demons don't typically go in cities, and they inhabit mainly the rural area. If you live in the city side of Japan, you'll just live a normal life because demons won't be a problem to you. But if you live in the countryside of things, the danger increases by a lot because demons are most common there and in small villages. However, if you live in the countryside, you can still survive as long as you don't go out at night. Because the demons can't get you if it's daytime, so the only thing you have to worry about is locking your door at night and not going outside. And the second factor that determines your chances of survival is if you enlist in the Demon Slayer Corps of Not. Because if you do, then you're dead. Because the chances of you mastering your Demon Slayer skills are low, and the chances being born with a breathing style are even lower. Some Demon Slayers don't have breathing styles, and therefore die a lot easier than Demon Slayers with breathing styles. Overall, I think this verse is easy to survive if you play your cards right and make the right decisions. I think most of us would be able to survive, just don't go out at night and don't be a Demon Slayer. It's really that simple, and I'd even say surviving this is easier than survive the Naruto verse. Anyways, this is the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave a like or subscribe. I'm trying to get 500 subscribers by the end of the year, so even one subscribe helps. As always, have a good day, and see you next time.